Hello and welcome to the program. My name is Marie Yambo. As usual, our social media handles at Marie Yambo at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter, KBC Channel 1 TV on Facebook. Today we talk about addiction, specifically gaming addiction. It's a real mental health condition affecting millions of people around the world, Kenya included. Well, to help us understand what kind of addiction this is and some of the warning signs is Jacob Laichena. He is a certified addiction counselor. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Mary.
Thank you so much, Jacob. So let's start by first wanting to understand, you are a certified addiction counselor, and I remember you told me that it's all about behavioral addiction.
Yes.
So first we want to understand what is behavioral addiction.
Thank you, Mary. To understand behavioral, we must understand chemical.
Yes.
They go hand in hand so that you can understand what chemical addiction is. And this is the most talked about addiction, where we talk about inducing yourself with alcohol, smoking a cigarette, chewing cut, smoking marijuana, or taking tabs. That is very common when you induce yourself, and this inducing of the chemical alters the normal functioning of the body so that you're not able to function normally. And similarly, when you do an act, a behavioral act, that is repeated over time, and it gives you the same satisfaction or looking forward to repeating it again, then it becomes now a behavioral addiction. You repeat an act or an action over time, it becomes habitual. And so understanding this is that for chemical, there's substance or drug that you're taking, or like, something that you're inducing yourself. For behavior, there's an action.
It's an action you're doing.
Okay. And it's replaying in the brain just to give you a reward, like chemical.
Okay.
So both of them are technically almost the same in the way the brain interprets the action.
Okay. And interestingly, just before we delve into the gaming addiction itself, which is behavioral addiction, you said it's an action that you do over time. And according to psychologists, it only takes about, what, 21 days?
21 days, yes. Precisely.
So anybody can be a candidate for any kind of behavioral addiction.
Precisely, yes.
You just need to do it for 21 days.
Repeat it
and
faithfully, and you get yourself hooked.
Okay, so let's delve into the matter of the day, which is gaming addiction.
Yes.
What is gaming addiction?
Good question. Gaming addiction is a playing of games, either using gadgets. It could be video. There's a video game addiction. It could be internet addiction or internet gaming addiction, where you use the phone or the laptop or gadgets that you play. It goes further than even into using slots, like where you put in some money and you play a game, and it's becoming very common now in most places where you find there's a gaming center where you can come in, get in, log in, and play whatever game you want. So it's becoming a concern because now many people are getting more addicted than what they would have wanted to. Whereby you find that somebody wants to stop, or there's a concern from the family, because that's how you decide, or you kind of like gauge whether it's an addictive behavior or not. Whereby first you're concerned about it yourself, you want to stop but you're not able to. Family members or friends are concerned about it, you don't fulfill your duties. So when you talk about the gaming addiction, it's whereby it's gotten to a point whereby it becomes a concern.
Yeah.
Regardless,
even if not to yourself,
yes,
but at least to the people around
you. Yes.
Probably you're not becoming as responsible as you ought to be, and all that. We'll be getting to the signs, and the warning signs of whether somebody is really addicted or not, because people play games, and on their phones, on the internet and all that. But how big a problem is it in our setting in Kenya, and which group, can I say, are you seeing more of it in your practice? Well.
I would say it's there are more than 75% of the people in Kenya have phones. And that's what is showing. And most of the people who have phones, there's 75% or 3/4 of the people with phones are able to download a game. Actually, all that you need to do is leave your child with your phone, and there's internet, and they will download any game. So it's as easy as pressing a button and getting a game that you can play. And without controls then, that means a child, even without going to a gaming center, a child can get a game of their choice from internet. And the pops come in. Whenever you're on internet, there are pops that will come in, whether racing, because whether it's the slot, whether it's the FIFA soccer, for example. All those are games that people kind of like log in very easily. So the question of how common it is as common as having a phone.
Okay.
Yes.
And which one particularly do you find that maybe young people or even adults are engaging in more?
Yeah, well, soccer is more common. There's a lot of interest in playing football. So soccer video games are very, very common today. Although there are games also that are rewarding, like puzzles, you'll find that people, the people are racing puzzles are very common, where you'll find like you're seated with somebody and all they're doing is moving their phones. Even in public places, you see that they're trying to control their phones because there's a game that they are on. Well, it's a way of releasing or relaxing, as many would say.
And that is what I would have asked you, because probably I'm in a restaurant waiting for someone, or at the airport or wherever I am, and I'm like, you know what, let me be on my phone and do, get engaged on this particular game. So is it wrong, or at what point then do you say, I need to be concerned about this?
Good question. And it's important for us to understand that it's not really a restriction on what to watch or what not to watch. But the two key words in addiction are tolerance and withdrawal.
Okay.
That when you play several times, you want to play more. You are playing when you're waiting on the lounge as you're going into a meeting, but you find now after the meeting, when you're going for another activity, you still want to play some more. So that the body now, the brain actually, is the brain develops the want to have it. We call it craving.
Yes.
You crave for that game again. And remember, you scored something. If it's a game that is scoring and you want to score a higher mark, they'll give you targets. And you want to, if it's a racing game, you want to finish the race in a shorter time. So there's always looking forward to that satisfaction again.
That makes it now addictive.
Yes. And then if you don't, then you'll also experience the withdrawal symptoms. Oh, I haven't played for a long time. So that you give somebody who's addicted to, like I was counseling an 11-year-old kid who was addicted to GTA. GTA is one of the common video games. It's Grand Theft Auto. And this kid, the parent was saying that whenever you got the phone, the first thing you do is check whether the phone as the game. If not, and there's internet, you will quickly download the game and start playing it and forget about everything else. And as it is, Grand Theft Auto, for example, is a game that teaches you to maneuver your way. As the name suggests, Grand Theft, it's teaching you how to steal better.
Oh, really?
You're becoming a grand thief.
Okay.
And automatically. So there is that aspect of wanting to play more. For children, well, some of the games are very addictive, that they would miss the assignments, they would not want to eat, they would lock themselves in their room and play the games.
And that's where I wanted to come to now, the consequences for us to actually now term it as a mental disorder of some sort.
Yes.
What are the consequences, or what are the mental disorders that can come with this kind of addiction, gaming addiction? Yeah,
well, generally, in a general way, the cut-out point is when you want to stop and you're not able to, regardless of the consequences. That is, so for example, you're late for work, or you're going to work, and you're supposed to spend time with your family, eat a meal with your family. When it constantly steals that time, when you're supposed to be working, when you're supposed to be going to work, when you're supposed to be doing something, then it starts to raise the question. And so we use the cage. Cage is a common way of an easy way of testing any addiction.
Okay.
Where has anybody complained about it?
Yeah.
Do you use it as an eye opener? That you when you get the phone, what is the first thing that you do? Yeah. And there are people, when they wake up, the first thing they will do is, and that's why gaming and gambling is the same. In a way, the first thing they will do is check what are the outcomes. And those who are in gaming will want to see, where did I leave the game next?
Okay.
If it's addicted to soccer, you'd want to watch. And that's why it's also connected with the internet disorder, which is also wanting to check and update yourself with where am I in this. So the check is when it has started to bring concern, when it's an eye-opener, when you're doing it even when you would have done something else. Yeah.
So, like for children, they neglect, for instance, their homework, or at least other responsibilities that they ought to be doing.
Yes.
And for grown-ups, definitely your relationships could be in jeopardy.
True.
Maybe your work will be affected, and all that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about gambling, but you can just delve in, because that's a different, can I say, talk altogether.
Yes, true.
But gambling also is just part of this, because it's almost like a game.
True.
I put in my money, I want, so it becomes something that you keep on wanting to do.
True, true.
So is that something also that you're seeing in your office where people are coming
definitely in? Gambling and gaming are the same. The only difference is that when you are gambling, you are making money out of it. And so you keep on trying to make money. The motivation or the reward is to make money out of it. But in gaming, the objective is simply to finish a game or to win. Sometimes you will engage people so that you don't play alone.
Yeah.
You will engage other people to play, whether it's physical or even online. You will engage other people. But now the difference is when you gamble, you're making money out of it. The intention is to make money out of it.
So are there mental health disorders that somebody can develop as a result of getting into this very innocent game? Are there mental disorders, anxiety maybe, or something that people can develop as a result of engaging in this kind of behavior?
Precisely, and I'm happy that you've already talked about anxiety, which is a very common disorder, or a build-up to most of the disorders, whether personality, antisocial disorders, or rather when the antisocial disorder is whereby you don't want to talk to people. You can imagine you're in a sitting room and somebody is just sticking to their to their phones.
Or some people you actually are in the car with them.
Yes. And so that is a disorder that you're already becoming antisocial, and it's also affecting your personality, because you also have personality disorder. And it also, because we have also other disorders like say attention deficit hyperactive disorder, whereby you are hyperactive. Yeah, it can make you really hyper in that you can lose your sleep to complete a game or to win a game, and that trend now will kind of like build up, because we are looking at the progression of addiction, whereby it starts from experimentation, and then it becomes an habit, habituation, and then socialization. So it starts with an experiment, and then you habituate that. That experiment, it becomes part of you, and then you involve other people, so it becomes a socialized thing, and then it becomes crucial, so that you are actually doing it. Without doing it, you'll not be able to live happily. And for drugs, it's easier, because somebody who is taking alcohol, it's very evident that if they don't take alcohol, you will see the withdrawals. But for somebody who has a behavioral addiction, you might not be able to see the impact, but it still plays out. Like, if I don't have my phone, I'll start fidgeting, I'll start losing my concentration, I'll not be able to do things rightly. Yeah.
So let's delve into You know, there is a satisfaction that people get, you know, when you either are abusing a substance, you know, whether it's heroin, it's alcohol, or cigarettes. There's a certain satisfaction that you get. And more or less like the gaming addiction also, can I say, works the same way.
Yes.
So how is the brain, you know, and this form of addiction, how are they connected?
Good question. I like that, because now they say that the brain develops from the back to the front. Yeah. So a child, the limbic system is normally the emotional brain, yeah, and the rational brain. The emotional brain is usually the back, and it's the one that starts to develop like fast or last. No, it developed fast. But then the frontal lobe continues to develop. So in the case of addiction, of behavior addiction, the brain, the limbic, which is the feel-good part of the brain, is compromised. And the rational brain also is interfered with. So that the reward you get from playing a game looks like a very big reward. Actually, winning a game, winning Monopoly, for example, would feel like you have actually won a real lottery, if I may say. But in essence, the brain will get the satisfaction that I am winning money, I am making money. And it's the emotional part that is feeling like I am making money out of this, I am winning. The brain gets satisfaction from the feel good. And so the part of the brain that is the feel good, that releases neurotransmission, we call them the dopamine neurotransmission, the feel good hormone, that you're getting satisfaction from what you're doing. It feels good, it looks good, so go for it. And once the brain now gets to that, it's compromised, and the dopamine effect is mimicked, so that you feel like, oh, what a satisfaction that I've earned, that I have finished this race. So
is it all about the dopamine? Because it's the reward hormone. So in all this form of addiction, just like it is in substance abuse, can we say it's all about the reward hormone, which is dopamine? You know, that is when can I say it wants to be triggered for you to feel good? Yes.
Yeah. For all addictions, the head is that I will be satisfied. When I take alcohol, I was feeling thirsty. Yes. When I smoke, I was feeling like, oh, I need to. When anything that we take, we want to feel a relief, a sense of happiness, a sense of fulfillment. And so once that sense of fulfillment is not experienced, then we crave for it. Okay. Yeah. And now, because you asked about the brain, what happens is that the brain is so wired that even the seeing the phone or the gaming gadgets, it triggers you to say, oh, I need to feel good again. Okay. Yeah.
So now that I walk into your office and probably, or someone walks into your office and they are concerned that they may be addicted to one form of gaming or another, how do you help them out? Because I would ordinarily just say, you know, it's just a game. Stop playing the game. Yes. You know, or like we'd say a substance abuse. I mean, it's just alcohol. Just stop taking it. But what kind of therapy do these kind of people go through?
Good. We normally use a lot of cognitive behavior therapy, whereby you're able to kind of like think through how it's affecting your life. Cognition is about coming into real time and saying, how much is this affecting me? What kind of things would I have done and have not done because of A, B, C, D? How is this compromising my relationship with my family, my studies, my workplace, so that I'm not able to fulfill the demands of life? And you will see that if it's starting to stress your life, there are tools. But I think I need to say that there are tools that you can use to do an inventory of how much this is affecting you. For some addiction, like the food addiction, there's the Yale questionnaire. So there are questionnaires, or let me call them psychometric tools, that you use to help you see, is it severe, is it
so there are levels of addiction.
Yes, there are levels of addiction.
There are levels of addiction.
There are levels of addiction.
So is it possible to, can I say, get treated, and how do we prevent it?
Good question. Like we are saying, the process of addiction is the experimentation, then there is the habituation, then there is the socialization. When somebody is experimenting, you can easily do a talk therapy. But there are times when people are so compromised that they are not able to do anything. Like, let me give the example of a kid who has been playing for a long time to an extent that they can't even concentrate on their simple assignments. They can't think about the basic things. They will need a lot of psychotherapy, as it were. The reality and the game are not able to be separated. And one can think, I'm just playing safe, but by and by, your mind is wired in such a way that you can easily get into the extremes if no caution is taken.
So just as we close, I still have a lot of questions, but
please,
it's something that we can arrange again for you to come and talk about. So for someone who is like listening to you and I think he's actually describing me or describing a member of my family or someone I know, what steps can they take to help these kind of people?
Yeah, I think the first thing is being aware that there's a problem. Or the client or the person who is affected and understanding that this is causing a problem in my life. And I need to sit down and analyze how much it's causing me problems. Being able to outline and say, it's affecting me in A, B, C, D, and noting that down. And then cognitive therapy is thinking through, or the therapy that we will be given is thinking through of what alternative ways can I use instead of this. Like if you're a fan of FIFA, the soccer, the alternative would go to the field and play. I mean, spend more time in the real action. In the real action. Yeah, and if it's affecting the family, then also it's going to have family meetings where you can share and see how much problem is it causing me.
You know, there's something I just want to, in a few seconds, the gaming especially, when it comes to the brain of the child, there's a way it affects it.
True.
Yeah, could you just, like in a brief?
Yeah. Like I said, the brain develops from the back to the front, and by 25 years, let me say 21 to 25 years, that's when a child is fully developed. Now, the challenge with gaming when a child is younger is that it kind of like increases the growth, or rather manipulates, I think that's the right word, manipulate the limbic system.
So can you also restrict how the brain grows?
Precisely, grows, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, because a kid, a kid will cry for anything that they want because they are working on the emotional brain. Okay. They're not reasoning that, Mom, you should give me. So if that is compromised, then this player of the game will always be a child.
Wow, there's a lot to talk about.
Sure, thank you.
Jacob Sick, thank you so much for making the time to be with us and talking to us about, gaming addiction, some of the warning signs, and even what people can do to prevent themselves from getting too far into it. Definitely, it's a balancing act. Are you a parent back at home? So, the ball is in your court. How are you able to control your child from using those gadgets? Are you a grown-up? So at least Jacob has already also explained to us how you can identify if you are getting addicted to some form of game. So thank you so much again for making the time to be with us this evening. I hope to see you again next week. My name is Marie Yambo.